Hello, my friends, people, social media friends. Anyway, let's jump in. We're going straight in the deep end. Many questions are being asked again. Can you see? We love your mom. Actually, I got a call from a lady who knew my mom in the 80s. They were of the same age bracket. I'll show you the pictures. Auntie Hanifa, we used to call her. She's here in the United Kingdom. She's so happy. She's been following everything I'm recounting about my mom, Mrs. Victoria Knight Kianda. Narurunjwe Kampala in 1980s when my mom came to the foyer. You know what a foyer is? You know, front line of things. Previously, she had been a housewife, very young, bringing us up. But it's 1979. Are you with me, people? We were in Kenya. We had skipped Kampala. They had overthrown Idi Amin. There was a lot of unrest in Uganda. We had a house in Kenya, Kileleshwa, and we moved to exile. Back then they were calling it exile. And then the brief time we were there, nze abantu nina bangi nyo betwalina be Kenya, ba Mr. Dan Chigozi, ba Francis Babu, banji twalinga fenna e Kenya eyo. Yeah, twasoma fenna, those who were young at the time like mine, we were going to the same Montessori. Very exclusive. Byali bya bay, byali bya small people. Kiraba tuli Kenya olwo. There was a very big community of Ugandans there. Doctors, Nairobi Hospital, professors, Kenyatta, whatever, those universities, the East African community. I'm a very big community of Uganda Airlines staff in Kenya. Let me bring you back to my mom. So when we returned, 1981, my mom joins the corporate world. She begins to work. She was around 20, she must have been 26, 81. You add up, she was born in 1954. She was 26. 26. She had already had us, 4 of us. 26, married to a billionaire, my dad. And she was living out the best of her life, beginning from there onwards. Having gotten married at 16, very young, and pretty much it was a fairy tale affair. Fairy tale. Something that is too good to be true, but it's true. And she was a very humble person. So when she enters the corporate world, she had finished her studies. She had returned back to study. Her studying was interrupted. She was at Namirembe Senior Secondary School. That's where she studied up to about Senior 2, Senior 3. Namirembe. Ngababera wabakuri muchiyindi. You know that part of the story. They had moved from Kangurumira to Kampala. My mom comes to Kampala when she was very young. She probably was about 7, 8, 9. Formative years. Her primary, she had studied at Namirembe Primary School. Those who don't know Namirembe, the hill, that is the church, Namirembe Cathedral, where she would get married later. It's very much an oxymoron, you know what I mean? My dad was in Mango Senior School, Mango Growers. That's how he ends up working in the growers, you know, Mango, Namirembe, Rubaga, Chibuli. Those are the 7 hills of Kampala. Kampala is on 7 hills. Those who want to know Kampala, It is a city of hills. So one hill, Namirembe, is where the cathedral is. And below the hill, there is Namirembe Infant School, Namirembe Primary School, and Namirembe Secondary School. 3 schools. Hello, my friends. I'll see you inside. You look nice. Thank you. Okay. So, I think you get the picture I'm giving you of Kampala in 1972. My dad gets married to my mom. And you already know how they met. So by 1980, we are returning back from Kenya. Kenya next to Uganda and Tanzania. That is the East African community. There are 3 countries. They were 3 countries during that time. But today, the East African community includes Rwanda and Burundi. And sometimes they say Congo. And sometimes they may even say Sudan, Southern Sudan. Kakati, she had kept a low profile. You know, back in the 70s, things were happening back to back, you know, raising a family, studying, you know. I told you she used to commute. She used to commute from Kampala to Nairobi every week. Fokker Friendship, where they transporter planes under the Uganda Airlines. Sometimes they would land at Kololo Airstrip. Sometimes they would land in Old Kampala Waggulu. Waliwo runway. In Nabagambye, there's a runway. I don't know if it is still there, people. There were a couple of airstrips in Kampala as well. Ne Wankulukuku, webazanyiranga omupiira waliwo ka airstrip. Nalukolongo. So there's a lot in Kampala that people don't know that has long changed. Kakati mu 1981, Uncle Rogers Mukasa Coffee Marketing Board would welcome my mom into the Uganda Development Corporation. Mchimanya chichona. It was a high flanking job. If you know what was going on that time, the East African community was defunct. So meaning that a lot of countries now were dealing with themselves. Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda. So much of what the agenda had been was shifted to the Development Corporation under the flagship of parastatals. Hey, I'm talking about big budgets. My dad had been in Growers Cooperative Union and he had seen what it meant to work for government. Although he had retired, my dad retired at 25 and went into business. Mr. Simpson William Chanda retires at 25, setting up Zinalaba General Coffee Merchants, one of the biggest coffee dealers in Uganda at that time. And later, he would throw his weight behind Coffee Marketing Board in Abajitandika, Neighbor Rogers Mukasa. Rogers Mukasa, Uncle Rogers was a family friend. And he was the one who set up Coffee Marketing Board in Uganda. If you want to know, I have the pictures of him. So there was no question that this was an elite couple. I'm talking about my mom, I'm talking about my dad. If you ask anyone who remembers and you just mention the name Chanda, kati bali very instrumental nnyo mu byali bigenda maaso mu 70s. Although kuba byali mu the government of the day, Idi Amin. Kale tukwewuza nti Idi Amin was a personal friend of my dad. Personal friend. Yes, but to the point that he came to the wedding in 1970. Tunabalagadde ekifaananyi mwakirabadda. And my dad was young, 24. Kakati, waoche mutamanyi. Mukujjako Obote mu 1971. It was an inside job. I have got access to some information written by my dad. Remember, I told you my dad wrote a lot of things. He used to write a lot of things. Yawandika ebintu bingi nnyo, Mr. Chanda. If he had written an autobiography, it would be a very big seller. Meaning that on the account of things, Major General Oito Joke, mukimanyi nti yaliwo mukujjako Obote. How did he make a U-turn and come back in 79? Mukwase ne coffee. Remember I told you the coffee syndicate. Bananga you people, you forget. In the overthrow of Obote 1 in 1971, whilst he was in Singapore with Henry Chamber, the principal private secretary. And then he returns back, goes to exile in Tanzania. Henry Chamber returns back to Uganda and is given a post by Idi Amin in the government, and then they fall out. You people. Ani Atwala, who took Oito Jok to study at Sandhurst? Ani Amutwala kusomera Sandhurst. Let's go back. I'm jumping. I've gone back again because we've been there before. I have got an explosive missive on the Oito Jok, his role in coffee. Because the 70s was the coffee boom. Uganda was on the roll. Uganda yaringa. We did not even have a debt. The country never had a single debt, foreign debt, to the point that even we loaned financial aid to some of the Middle East countries. I will not tell you the countries. Idi Amin yawola n'ensenda sent. That is, those are the 70s. If you look at the East African community, Uganda was the biggest financer. Fetwali tuchirimu, and we lost a lot. Kenya yatufuna munyo. Muchimanya echo. Uganda Railways, all the rolling stock ended up in Kenya. East African ports and harbors, all byasigala Kenya. East African Airways byasigala Kenya. Batufuna munyo Kenya. Yemutamanya. And of course, we are talking of the 80s now. My mom begins her job under the stewardship of Rogers Mukasa, who was by then caught in between the coffee scandal. It wasn't even a scandal, it was like this. Agati Mumbuza, and how did Oito Jok come back in the picture? He had played a key role. Because Malum, whatever, he had Tanzania, to return back Obote, and he rewards him by giving him the chairmanship of Coffee Marketing Board. Ekintu kyo kyanyiiza abantu bangi nnyo. Ba stakeholders, ba billionaire elites, mbaogerako nnyo. It was a group that included the Mango Boys Club, 1965. The Mango Boys Club. Mwalimu abagagga bangi nnyo mu group eyo. Today, bwemba mwina bagagga kwagalana. That is just an outfit. It didn't come close to the Mango Boys. Bamuzei bafe. And if you can remember, if I give you documented evidence, I can show you a line of Mercedes Benzes. West was that Ambulanga. Mukampala 1980s. Mercedes Benz. Nazebavuga. Nazebavuga bamuzei bafe. Abagagga. Akati my mom is in between all that. Yes, buddy. And she begins her career Mama wange yali mukazi omuku. She was one of a kind, never seen before. First of all, let me describe her. Yali light skinned. Ngabalo was a mzungu. People used to think she was white. She was mixed race. Naturally light skinned. Nga ine enviri mpanvu. Nga mweru. Hey! Twali baana bato. Nenze bwe nkubuulira mama wange yali afaanana. She was my mom. Nga tumu wata. Nga abasajja baagala mama wange bamwegomba bamukwana naye nga bamanyi taata wange. Taata wange, my dad was very reserved. Mwami Chanda nga musirifu. And I was always a man of few words. Naye ng'abantu batya taata wange. He was an enigma. This is my mom. This is how my mom used to be. She was very, very friendly and very, very likable. Batandika Uganda Development Corporation Hatchery Division. There were many parastatals at the time which were set up. Very many. To reward people. Obote was trying to reward people. Giving them jobs. Joyce jobs. Naye kizibu kyali ate akiplantinze. Olutalo lwa Museveni nze ndulinako history ndala ekyaluleeta n'ekyaliwo ate lwaki lwali luweero. It was to do with coffee. It was to do with coffee. Weri abaaluteekamu ssente. You don't fight a war on an empty stomach. And the groundwork was already set. Banga senga Museveni yali ayagadde kubaira mu government byabufuzi. He had already tested power as a vice president. He minister of defense yani yonna edagiralyeko. Ya kalulu naye bino ebintu bya Uganda biri conflicting, birimu eddiini. Catholics, DP, sijui UPC, Protestants, sijui byali bitya. That's the 1980 elections. Nabagamba nti basoma results. My dad bali mu Sheraton, Jamaica Sheraton today. Back then it was called International Hotel, Nile Mansions, yes Serena. We wali Electro Center. Bali waggulu bali mu kunywa whisky. Uncle Paul never stopping echi reading the results until further notice. Then there was a 48 hours media blackout of Radio Uganda. And Radio Uganda was just playing the music until they announced Paulo Mwanga Uncle Paul nyine ya announcing the results nti Obote awangudde. Ekintu kyatabukirawo. But of course people knew DP had won. But remember Nyamurunga had returned Bushenyi Obote yali akomyewo. And that was the whole agenda that had been going on. We last in Tanzania. Kakati mama wange ayingira Kampala nga it is full of energy. And the limelight of the day was in Kampala, the so and so people, abagagga. Kakati nga tuvudde mu amafuta mingi ebyomu 70s. I will give you that chapter of the mafuta mingi properly. Kati they were labeled as the excessively rich people in Uganda. Those are, hello my friend. Right? Yeah, I'm coming inside. So, but come the 80s, there was a little bit of liberté. kakati mama wange na standing out nnyo ne bamumanya nnyo mukyala Kyanda Mrs. Knight. Saturdays akera mu saloon, twalina saloon awaka ebyuma nga biva mu London eno. Waalingawo saloon eyali ku UDM house awo temugimanyi nga only diplomats wives, only ministers wives go there. Saturday Benz Simbam line. That is the opposite to Uganda Railways. Nile Uganda House. Walinga ujibaita Nile Restaurant. Wituli eche emisana cha Saturday. Bocha mbuzi kurusogo. That is after shopping. Yes, guys. You're right. Ah, man. You finished? Yeah. All right, guys. Have a good one. Yeah. All right. Yeah. And then we had Odida video, whatever. You have to go there and get the video cassettes for the weekend to watch. Mulaba Kampala, Jumbo Arcade. Then you cross to Uganda House. No, to Diamond Plaza, Diamond Trust, the building. Maduka Gerandani. Bakagondi, that is the life we used to live. Then they took Naku Drapers. Then from there, they took the Nakasero Market. Afternoon, Kampala Club. Swimming. What? Bamuzei Baleku Golf Club. Wansi Fairway. Manye Kampala. That is the Kampala of the 80s. Banyumiza mbozi, mujemba nyumiza mbozi. Mutemula ye, if you are saying today it is suje abantu bakaba bwavu, bantu bavu. Kati